Hi, I'm Troy Stetina, and I wrote what is possibly the most successful metal and rock guitar methods in the world. I've taught beginners, intermediates, advanced players, I've taught rock stars. Today here, what I want to tell you is the mistake, the most common mistake I see that beginning guitar players make. And it's probably not what you're thinking. It's not about, learning this or that or not learning this or any of those things. It's about how you practice. They start playing their song. They start at the beginning and they're playing along, and then they reach what is a difficult spot. Because in songs, not all parts are equally difficult. A lot of parts will be easy, and then there'll be these moments that are much more difficult. And they'll get to that spot that's difficult and they'll mess up. What do they do then? Generally, they'll stop, they'll go back to the beginning, and they'll go back and they'll play the song again. Try to get through that spot. Now, that has a couple of effects. One of the things that happens when you keep doing it like that is you actually build up some tension and some anxiety about that upcoming trouble spot, which doesn't help things at all. It's also an extremely inefficient way to practice. What's the real goal here? Well, you might say, well, obviously the goal is to play the song. And that's true. That is the short-term goal, but that's not the real goal. The real goal is to develop a competence with the skill set. Playing guitar is a skill set, meaning a set of skills. It's not just a skill, it's a combination of lots of different skills all brought together. And all of these different skills are coordination skills. There's left hand, there's chording, there's right hand, strumming patterns, picking, accuracy. There's all these things that go into it, feeling the flow, feeling a momentum, and connecting the notes together that need to be connected together, paying attention to the sound. These are all aspects of the skill set. And really, what we want to do is we want control over all the fundamentals. You see, guitar breaks down to a bunch of fundamentals, and if you have all those fundamental skills good, well, then you can play that song. You can play any song, because once you learn the chords and the different patterns and you have control over the picking, once you have the right technique, you can do whatever you want. And that is competence. That's what you really want. So on the one hand, yeah, you want to learn how to play this song, but this song is really just a specific encapsulation of certain fundamentals. If you have the fundamentals down, you can play the song. If you don't have the fundamentals, you're going to suck at playing that song. It's going to fall apart at places. You're not going to be getting it right. When you get to that problem spot, you can stop and you can ask yourself, why am I messing that up? What's wrong there? What fundamental that I need to be able to do am I weak? It's unreliable. I'm putting a hesitation in my playing that needs to, be removed. So that's the question you need to ask. You can separate the hands, meaning look at what's difficult in the left hand, make sure it can do its part. Maybe it's a right hand problem. Maybe there's an awkward strumming pattern, or there's a accuracy of picking. You hit the wrong string once in a while. In that case, isolate what's the fundamental in the right hand that's a problem. Figure it out. If it's trouble with the rhythm, maybe just damp all the strings, just focus on the rhythm. Play that rhythm until you have a momentum to it and there's a flow to it, and then put it back in context. So then, instead of playing along, let's say 10 seconds to this problem spot, screwing it up, going back to the beginning, playing 10 seconds, hitting it again, messing it up, going back to the beginning, play through 10 seconds, finally the third time maybe you get it right. So in that scenario, you have just practiced 30 seconds and you have played the trouble spot, the difficult fundamental, one time. Now you say, well, I've actually played it 3. Well, no, you've screwed it up twice. You only got it right once. Screwing up a fundamental doesn't really build proper muscle memory. You want to play it right over and over to make it reliable, okay? So 30 seconds of practice, one time you got it right. Compare that to this. Look at the fundamental. Let's just suppose it's moving from one chord to another. You play a G chord, for example, and then you play a D. And one has to connect to the next. And maybe you can do the two chords, but moving from one to another for some reason is difficult. Well, what do? Well, that's a fundamental, that move. G to D is a particular fundamental, and if you don't have that down, every time you get there, you're going to mess it up. So what do? Isolate that fundamental. Play G to D, G to D, G, D, G, D, back and forth over and over, whatever it is. Instead of playing through 30 seconds and doing it once, how about playing that trouble spot over and over and over? Now, how long does it take to do that move, G to D? What, 2 seconds? Okay, so in 30 seconds, I can do it 15 times. I've practiced the fundamental 15 times more efficiently than the other method. And I guarantee you that if you are practicing 15 times more efficient than the common method, you're going to get a lot better, a lot faster. So that's the general mistake that most beginners make. They practice very inefficiently because they don't understand that guitar is really a collection of fundamentals, and if you get the fundamentals right, you can play anything. So let's start looking at the songs for those fundamentals. Don't hide from the difficult spots. Don't I hope I can get it, I hope I can get it, and then just try to plow through it. Bring them forward, look at them and tackle them head on. Make yourself do it carefully, do it right, do it repeatedly, and after a little while of that kind of conscious practice, what will happen is it'll suddenly start to become easy, and that's what you really want.